Imagine this. The darkest, most intense episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 dropped some weeks back. Hearts are breaking, guns are firing, and Fisk is losing control like never before. But what if I told you that right under your nose, the episode is hiding mistakes so sneaky, so surprising that once you see them, the whole story starts to crack. You're about to discover things that make you rewind and say, wait, that can't be right. If you leave now, you'll miss the one error that changes everything about how this episode ends. Stay with me. This ride is just getting started. Here we also hunt down every single mistake hiding in your favorite shows. Today we are diving deep into the first episode of the thrilling Daredevil Born Again Season 2, titled The Northern Star. This episode kicks off the season strong with Matt Murdock striking back against Mayor Wilson Fisk and his anti-vigilante task force. We see Daredevil infiltrate a cargo ship smuggling weapons, and a lot of intense setup for the Resistance. But behind the great action and performances, there are some mistakes that once you spot them, you cannot unsee them. Stick around till the very end of this video because after watching, you are going to look at this episode from another angle. Let us start from the very beginning. The first mistake can be seen from the first scene of action. Here, Daredevil is on the Northern Star cargo ship. What happened? He finds a fake wooden wall on a container with a clear bullet hole. He punches through it from his side where the hole is big and lets light through. Why it is wrong? In the reverse shot when he steps through, there is no bullet hole at all on that side of the panel. Plus a jagged piece of wood at the bottom left of the hole completely disappears between the two shots. What should have happened instead? The damage to the wall should have matched perfectly from both angles, so the fight feels continuous and realistic. Buddies, the bullet hole literally vanished. I hope you caught that on the very first watch. If not, slow it down and watch closely. But wait, it gets more interesting. The next obvious reveal sneaked right under your noses. Let's go back a few minutes before the first reveal scene. As Daredevil takes on the guards on the cargo ship, carefully watch how the hole over here disappears and appears again within shots. As Daredevil moves towards the guards, we see that there's a penetration of light beam through the supposed hole made on the wall we spoke of at the start of this video. After the chaos, look at what happens in the next shot, which is supposed to be an active continuity of the fight. The puncture vanishes completely, and in the next shot it reappears like it was never gone. I know, right? I guess they thought we'd never know. Well, we just did. I hope you didn't blink, else you just might have missed it. I hope I'm not too quick for you, buddies, because I've got another one laying still in this same scene. This time, the makeup team didn't keep it consistent enough. Here during the fight, one of the guards watches in tremendous fear as Daredevil violently punches one of the guards non-stop. I sure would hate to have been that guy. Wait, rewind a moment and get a good glimpse at his face as he watches. Can you see this? There's very little blood on his nose in this shot, but as he crawls in fear to get a weapon, we can see that the makeup team went overboard with the retouching. The blood stain was noticeably much more than what they started with, don't you think? The next one is for the more focused and attentive movie lovers, because there's just no way you would have noticed if not for this video reveal. It's centered about the government meeting in Mayor Fisk's office. During the big meeting, Fisk is sitting at his desk talking to his people. Watching this particular scene even 100 times without being given a clue won't get your guards up because the mistake blended perfectly and almost went unnoticed. Now, let's start with the frontal view while you closely look at the papers on his desk. Let's take note of some key positions as I map them out. In this shot, the papers are neatly stacked, and we are going to label the ones we wish to pay attention to. Let's say A, B, and C. Now we move on to the back view such that we see the desk from Mayor Fisk's angle. Do you see an additional paper file on his desk? Then in the very next shot, that paper file is missing again. In fact, it is missing throughout the front shots and present throughout the back shots. Why it is wrong? This is a classic continuity error. The props guy probably placed the paper file during the back shots and forgot to place it for the frontal shots. What should have happened instead? The paper file should have stayed exactly the same so the scene feels smooth and professional. I bet you guys would never have realized this even if you watched the episode over and over again. If you enjoy spotting these hidden mistakes, do me a favor by liking and subscribing right now. We still have more coming, so watch until the very end. You can't afford to miss out on showing off these mistakes amongst fellow friends and fans, don't you think? This next mistake hides effortlessly in plain sight. Remember, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. This is the scene in which attorney Benjamin Hochberg pressures therapist Heather Glenn to change the examination report of an alleged criminal so much that he's found guilty, in favor of Mayor Fisk's plans. Glenn is still traumatized that she hallucinates occasionally due to the near-death experience she had with Muse, a serial killer. Since the near-death experience at the end of Season 1, she somewhat believes in Mayor Fisk's lies about vigilantes being the problem and cause of the increase in crime acts and chaos within the city. That said, I want us to pay more attention to the objects on her table as she talks to Benjamin over the phone. Take note of the placements of these objects because they are about to teleport in 0 seconds. Here, she listens to the recording from the examination, and as you can see, the objects haven't moved yet. Then all of a sudden, boom! We finally have the last shot of all the objects on the table, and guess what? The pencil already found its way into her left hand, while this object is out of its previous position. All happened within a twinkle of an eye. However, it couldn't have been our eyes because we barely blinked. What should have happened? There would have been a shot included to validate the displacements of all these objects, or better still, a random event. Do not lose focus because you might miss the next one. Once you see it, you cannot stop noticing. Here is a bigger one that only smart viewers probably caught. This mistake could very easily be pinned on the makeup team and more. The scene in which Cherry, a former detective and also an ally of Matt Murdock, is being interrogated at his apartment by Wilson Fisk's corrupt anti-vigilante task force. Fortunately for him, he had quickly sent a distress call to Matt Murdock, who happens to also be the vigilante, Daredevil. Daredevil arrived in Cherry's apartment fighting off the task force. However, Cherry was already beaten up before Daredevil's arrival. Now, let's see where my focus lies because we will see a couple of disruptions in makeup continuity and also unrealistic displacements that could only be logically explained with the help of a teleportation story of some kind. Here is an image of Cherry after he has been beaten up, and Daredevil using his billy club to quickly take out the anti-vigilante task force agent who was holding a gun to Cherry's head. Feel free to pause and rewind where necessary because I do not want to make this video unnecessarily longer than it should be. Here are some key areas I want you to log your memory on as we proceed. I believe that's done. If not, just take note of his face and blood-stained makeup. Now, do you see how the next shot simply has little blood stain above his left eyebrow? Also take note of how shallow the blood stain is on his nose and almost clean enough in between his eyebrows. Okay, let's see the next shot. Here, there's actually more blood stain above his left eyebrow, and in the next shot, as Daredevil helps him on his feet, there is quite little. When his heart starts to fail, a whole new bloodstain makeup was added in between his eyebrows right down his nose in a manner that's quite noticeable. Did you see that? It almost looked like he got healed from the previous beating he received and got another with slightly more bleeding. We have now covered the major hidden mistakes and continuity errors we could find in Daredevil Born Again Season 2 Episode 1, The Northern Star. The episode is strong, with great action and sets up the season perfectly, but these slips are there once you start looking carefully. So tell me in the comments which mistake stood out to you the most, and if there was any you noticed which we didn't catch. Was it the disappearing bullet hole on the ship, the Daredevil awkward displacement onto the edge of the carpet, or the blood-stained makeup inconsistencies? Be honest, how many did you catch while watching the first time? If you want me to break down Episode 2 next, just comment below. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss these deep dives. Thank you for watching until the very end. You are indeed amazing. Just so you know, you are indeed the real MVP for staying till the end. See you in the next video where we expose even more. Don't miss out.